Hi, guys. So I'm not in my usual spot today. I've traded my tiki bar in Florida for the mountains in southwest part of Colorado. I'm in Ouray, Colorado, which is the most beautiful place in the world, and no place I would rather be than right here in these mountains each summer. Uh, the 100-miler that I would normally do this summer has been canceled, sadly, but I still wanted to be here to run and train, enjoy these views, and breathe in the fresh mountain air. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk to you about downhill running technique. You see, I didn't know as a Floridian whether I was good at running downhill until I tried it. And fortunately, I had listened to Jeff Galloway. I had learned what he wanted me to learn about downhill running technique, and it's paid off tremendously. So I want to share that with you. We talk a lot about hill training, and when we do, normally what we're talking about is strengthening our legs by running up hills. And that is amazing for leg strengthening. But you can also help yourself out a lot if instead of just walking down from the top of that hill, you practice running down using good downhill running technique. Now, what does that mean? That means going downhill with a short stride length and a fast turnover. Short stride length and fast turnover guarantees that your midfoot will land first as you're running downhill. And that's what you want. Now, heel striking is not a problem most of the time when we're running. If anybody tells you it is, they're just wrong. There's nothing wrong with heel striking when you're running on a flat surface. It's the way a lot of people run. A lot of really good, very fast, famous runners have been heel strikers. You may have heard of Steve Prefontaine, heel striker. You may have heard of Frank Shorter, heel striker. That's okay. So the heel striking didn't prevent them from reaching the highest heights of American running, and it's not going to prevent you from reaching your goals. But if you are heel striking when you're running downhill, that is a problem, because if your heel is the first thing to hit when you're running downhill, what happens is all of the energy that gravity is putting on you as you're coming downhill is being transferred through your foot into your quadricep as a brake. If your heel hits first, you can feel that energy coming up through your leg and as you're slowing yourself down. And that's bad, because if you thrash your quadriceps, you can't use them later in a race, later in a run, and sometimes not even later in that week, depending on how hard you hit those quads. So a short stride length and a fast turnover will keep you from utilizing those quadriceps or overutilizing them on the downhill, and will allow you to continue with your run on and on and on. I saw this also when I ran the Boston Marathon. The Boston Marathon, it's the same distance as every other race.
Did I really say every other race? Obviously, I meant it's the same distance as every other marathon.
But what makes it really hard is that there's a lot of downhill early on. And if you overstride, heel strike on the way down in the first half of that race, your legs are gone by the second half. And that means later in the race, when you've crested over Heartbreak Hill and then you're coming down that next backside toward Boston, there's nothing left in the legs. And I've seen it in a lot of runners. So what I want you to do if you're going to practice your downhill running is to have a short stride length, fast turnover, focus on landing midfoot, and you'll know you're doing it right if you feel yourself going with a lot of energy and a lot of momentum, but you're not braking, you're not slowing yourself down. Now, if it's a really steep hill, like that one, or if it's a really long downhill, then you might need to put in some walk breaks. Or another thing that you might be able to do is pretend you're downhill skiing. You know, there's some people that are just maniacs. They'll go straight down that slope. But what I do and what a lot of other people will do is they'll just kind of crisscross. They'll create their own switchbacks. And what that does is it means that we're not going as steep as the person going straight down. If you're cutting across, you're not going as steeply, and that will slow you down and allow you to keep midfoot, not heel strike, and stay in control. Another piece of advice, if you are going to be out on a mountain, or if you're going to be doing a downhill on a gravel surface or a really long downhill, is to bring some gloves to put on at the top of that hill so that if you do fall, you don't take the skin off your hands. I've done that a few times right back there. I hope wherever you're running, you're having a great time. I hope you're enjoying yourself more than ever. I know that we can't run as much in groups, and I know there aren't a lot of races, but running hasn't been canceled. The summer weather is here. If there's anything I can do to help you, please reach out, chris@jeffgalloway.com. And wherever you are, enjoy your running.